So we all have times when we feel unmotivated and we don't want to do the tasks that we know we have to do. So today I'm going to show you 4 different bookkeeper tasks that I need to do and some tips and tricks to get motivated. My name is Morgan and my website is FinePoints.biz. I love to make videos to help bookkeepers get more organized. If this is something you want to hear more about, make sure you hit the red subscribe button down below so that you can get a new bookkeeping video every single week. Alright, so you may be needing motivation to either start your bookkeeping business or to work for your bookkeeping clients. I know there's always procrastination and there's always things that can stand in the way of getting tasks done that we need to do. So for each of these 4 scenarios, I'm going to let you know the bookkeeper task I'm going to do and then the method that I chose to motivate myself to get it done. The first one is signing up for the payroll company Gusto. So I needed to do this for one of my clients. And it was just something we'd kind of been continually putting off. It didn't sound that fun. It sounded like a lot of work. So the method I'm going to use for this is the Swiss cheese method. And this comes from a book by a guy named Alan Lakin. And he basically thinks that if you have a big task to do, you just need to start poking holes in it. So that's the Swiss cheese part, all the little holes. So just spend 5 minutes and do one little thing. Spend another 5 minutes and do another little thing. Just spend a bunch of little snippets of time working on your task, and eventually you're going to be surprised at how much you've gotten done. So the reason why the Swiss cheese method worked really well for signing up for payroll, because it was a really large task and there wasn't really any super big priorities. So we had to do things like put in all the employees' information, we had to sign up for benefits, we had to approve each person, we had to put in their time, put in their hours, like enter tons of information about employees so that they could be paid. They had to go in and set up their bank accounts. So it was just all these little tasks. They kind of had the same importance and there wasn't like a really strong deadline on them. We had to get them all done in a month, but there wasn't like one thing that was on fire that had to be done before other things. So what I did was I just started working on it little by little in 5 or 10 or 15-minute increments. And that was enough because it wasn't something I really had to concentrate really hard on. It was just like maybe some data entry here, some data entry there, maybe look up something and make a note of it and come back to it. But this method worked really well in this situation just because of the nature of the tasks. This also reminds me of the infamous advice from my mother-in-law that we always say a lot around here is just do one thing. So if you have a whole bunch of tasks that are overwhelming you, just start anywhere. Just start doing something, start in the right direction, get that momentum, and that's going to help a ton. Next motivational task I tried was on my to-do list for this week. So this was kind of like a monster to-do list. It had a bunch of stuff. It kind of felt messy and not prioritized. So for this one, I used what's called the Salami Method. So for this method, the idea is kind of the metaphor is just to like take small slices of the big project, and it's more organized than Swiss cheese. So you're not just like poking holes in stuff randomly, but you are slowly taking slices off your large project so you can kind of get one thing done in 20-minute increments. So I'm going to show you kind of what I did with this list. So the first thing I did was I highlighted all of really the work-related stuff that I wanted to focus on. From there, I did what my mom always suggests, and she says Swiss cheese your A1s, which sounds more like the Swiss cheese method, but it actually applies to this more because it's all about organizing your list and prioritizing it. So first you go through and you put an A through all the very most important priority things. So I think there was like 4 A's on my list. So those are things I needed to get done like in the next day or 2. And then after that you put your B's and your C's, etc. Then you look at your 4 A's and you decide what is your number 1 most important thing out of all those A's. So that's A1, and then you do A2, A3, A4. And you can almost kind of combine this with the thing that's trending at right now, especially in minimalist circles, that's like the 1 item to-do list or the 3 item to-do list. So it's just like pick one thing that you're going to do that day. It's your most important thing. If you get it done, you're going to be happy. So then obviously, again, the idea is just prioritize the most important things along with the book Eat That Frog, I think it's called, where you want to do your hardest, most unpleasant task first. Okay, and I'm going to explain just a couple things on this list because I know it's sometimes helpful to hear what other bookkeepers are doing. So I needed to do just regular bookkeeping for a client. I needed to do some YouTube stuff, which doesn't apply to most people. I'm working on my website, so I needed to send some updates to the person who's helping me out with that. So that is something that you might need to do as a bookkeeper. I needed to work on QuickBooks pricing. So I had this really good deal it was like 5 for 25 through QuickBooks Online. And so I had 5 clients that were only paying $5 a month for QuickBooks. But that was only for 2 years. So that 2 years is going to be up in like a month. So I need to touch base with my clients let them know that that deal is ending, which they should have hopefully remembered. And then I need to call QuickBooks and figure out what the best, then now they need to be switched to a full price plan. And I think there's a few different options. So right now they're on QuickBooks Online Plus, which has some good features, like you can use classes. I know one of my clients needs to use classes, so they'll probably have to go onto QuickBooks Plus for full price. And then some of my other clients might want to downgrade if they don't need the features that are in QuickBooks Online Plus. So that is definitely a situation you might come across as a bookkeeper, just helping clients figure out what kind of QuickBooks they need and what the best price is for them. All right, and then I have a call with Seth David. So he is from Nerd Enterprises. He is a YouTuber and like just kind of a guru that I've looked up to like ever since I've started. So I had a really complex question with a balance sheet for a client that I didn't know how to like clean up. And so he has a service where you can do paid consulting with him for certain projects or certain problems or whatever. So I set up a call with him that'll be in a couple days that I have on my to-do list, and then schedule a call with Gusto. So again, we have that Gusto thing that we're setting up. And when you set up different parts of it, a customer service representative actually contacts you and said, oh, I saw you just set up benefits. Can I help you with this? Can we schedule a call? I think they really try to have extra good customer service at the beginning while you're getting everything set up. So I need to talk with Gusto. And then I also need to get this paper back to Lori, an accountant. It is for depreciation of office furniture. So I'm going to talk about that in the fourth motivation step. My third thing I tested for motivation was the Pomodoro Method. So you guys have probably heard about this. I feel like it's pretty well known, but it's basically doing your work in a certain way in certain chunks of time. So the bookkeeping situation I'm going to use this on is just working on a client's books. And I thought this would be a really good fit for this because it's just, it helps me focus in larger chunks of time. And I kind of already have it prioritized. I kind of already know what my tasks are, but I just need to sit down and focus and work on it. All right, so for the Pomodoro Method, first you just decide what you're going to do, and then you set a timer and work for 25 minutes. And then after that, you get up and you take like a 3-minute break, and then you put a little check on your piece of paper. And then after you have 4 of those checks, so you've worked for an hour straight with the little breaks, then you take a longer break. And your longer break should be 15 to 30 minutes. And then after you've taken that break, you start over again with starting the 4 check marks again of the 25-minute increments. So the good thing about this is 25 minutes is long enough for you to concentrate and get into a task, but it's not so long that it's daunting, like, oh, I have to work for the next 4 hours on this client's books or whatever. So it does help you get started and get motivated. All right, the next task I needed to be motivated to do was to fill out a depreciation form for an accountant. So I'll explain what that is in just a second, but the method I used I named it Tiny Tasks. I don't know, it doesn't really have a name, but it's basically break the bigger project into so many small tasks that you can't not do them. So I heard a YouTuber talk about this probably a couple of years ago, and it was, about cleaning her kitchen, I think. So she broke it into the smallest tasks. And then I do this a lot, like if I'm really, if I can't get out of bed or something, or I'm really tired, it's like I tell my brain to do the very smallest task. And then, so the task would be like move my finger. If my brain tells my body to get out of bed, I'm like, no. But I'm like, okay, I can practice in little steps obeying what I'm telling myself to do. So first I move my finger, and then I move my hand, and then I move my leg, and then I put one leg over the bed. Or, you do it in such tiny, tiny steps that it seems manageable. So for this depreciation sheet, it was something that I'd kind of been putting off. When you have office furniture in a business, like higher priced items depreciate, which means they go down in value every year. So say you buy a big desk or something for $1,000. So the first year it's worth $1,000 of assets in your business. But then each year after that, it goes down in value. So the next year, I don't know, it's not my specialty, so I don't know all the percentages and stuff, but the next year it'd be like $8,000, then it'd be like $6,000 or something. And eventually you get rid of it. Maybe you sell it on Craigslist for $100, or maybe you just throw it away if it's not worth anything. So the accountant for my client keeps this record of this depreciation, and they had just gotten rid of a bunch of stuff. So we needed to go through, mark all the stuff they'd gotten rid of it, how they disposed of it, and they had bought new things, so they needed to add those things. So just kind of like a task that isn't that fun or exciting, but it does need to be done. And so I literally broke it up into the smallest tasks possible. So I was like, go sit at your desk, open your computer, find the email with the sheet from the accountant, download the sheet. And every single tiny step just really helped me because, you know, if I think about the like 20 tasks that this requires, it's overwhelming. But if I'm just like, okay, sit at my desk, I can do that. Find the email, I can do that. So that just helps me a lot when I break things up into really small tasks. Thanks so much for those of you who've stayed tuned. And if you made it this far, I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up for this video. That helps other people see it and helps it be recognized by the YouTube algorithm. I'll also put some other videos on the screen for you guys to check out if you'd like more info about bookkeeping. Thanks so much. Bye.